Reef Beef. My name is Rich.
And my name is Ben.
And tonight we have a special guest, Marc Levenson, and we're going to talk about stuff we never talk about in the reef keeping world. I think it's going to be exciting. So here we go. We have a special guest today, Marc Levenson, who is here. You know him from Melev's Reef and for hundreds and thousands of years of being a reef provider and influencer and a person with good information, and he's helpful and he's got stuff to say and he's got a great tank and he's joined us. He's slumming it with us today, and we may even get him to swear today, which would be amazing because he's had some issues with his tank. So we'll get to that. But how are you doing besides the crap that's going on with your tank? How's everything going?
Well, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of my mother's death. Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
And then I just feel like it was a week before that was the 6-month anniversary of my girlfriend dying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then my Reef decided to go hairy-carry about, 16 days ago during the Reef Diary series, where every day you talk about how cool your tank is and what you're working on that day. And now it's like, tank sucks. See you tomorrow. And then, the next day, I still hate it. See you tomorrow.
Well, our condolences and sympathies for all of that stuff, of course. And that said, we're now going to handle it like we would handle it if we were there with you in person, by making fun of you and talking about weird stuff and trying to distract you a little bit. But I think I haven't caught up on all of the Reef Diaries that you're doing, and we'll put a link to them so people can find it. So I don't know what's up to date, but so why don't we just jump into it? Because I think it's very cool to talk about when things go bad. I think we don't do that enough. I wrote articles about both of my caulk disasters because I think people need to know about the horrible things that happen, because I think that's the most instructive stuff around. So what the fuck happened?
Well, everything was going swimmingly. And I literally was just doing my regular things that I do. I was like, okay, what am I going to do with the tank today? I want to refill the calcium reactor. I want to clean it up. I'm going to do a time lapse. And then it's like, oh, today I want to work on the algae turf scrubber and reset it. Oh, today I'm just going to clean the glass and do my water test. Oh, today I'm going to kill some cyano that's in the refugium. It's in the turf scrubber. There's hints of it on the sand. I just want to nuke it before it gets bad. And everything in the tank was doing so well throughout the entire treatment. Then I did my giant water change at the end, and the whole tank went to crap. It just literally things were going wrong. This was probably something like episode 17 of the Reef Diary. And I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? And I checked my blood pressure. I have one of those machines now.
Yeah.
And it was like sky high. I was like, yep, that seems to corroborate with what's going on in my life. And I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? And I'm watching certain corals look really off. And that was the first day. And then it just, over time, I watched more and more of the SPS go up in smoke. Chalices were looking wrong. I lost my purple tank that I've had since 2004. It was a lot of things were going on, and I couldn't really understand what it could be, to be honest. And of course, people came out of the woodwork. You did everything too fast. You're just trying to do things for YouTube. And I'm like, no, I'm working on my tank, and I'm sharing with you what I would be doing with my tank. The only difference is if I didn't do the diary, I'd be putting post updates about what's happening with the tank today, and that's about it. Instead, people are living through it with me. And the whole principle of the diary was, instead of my super long live stream that I love to do, I would do a video each day of maybe 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
Some days, like yesterday's, was like a minute 51 or something. And then the day before that, I think was 10. So it just depends on the content and what's going on. But I try to keep them really short so you can just kind of drink your cup of coffee, see what's going on, see you tomorrow.
Were you just trying to do like a daily, just however long it took, a daily, this is what I did to the aquarium today?
Yeah, I wanted to share what it's like to run a reef tank my size. And just kind of, because people are like, oh, your tank's so pretty, and they want to understand it. And people just share pretty pictures, and they just tell you all the good. And I thought, well, I mean, okay, there's also lots of nuances, little tiny things that you don't get to know anything about, that you just do on autopilot that other hobbyists, and especially new ones, don't even know to think about. So if I say today I cleaned my glass and I adjusted my calcium reactor slightly so it's a little bit lower pH, that's the diary, so be it. But if there was something more interesting going on, then I would tell them what was going on, or I had a project I need to work on and I'd share it. And the idea was that every day there's something to do with your tank. And sometimes it's nothing. And sometimes it's just feed the fish. And other times it's a whole thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's catastrophic.
16 days of nightmare.
I'm torn between asking, let me see.
Go ahead.
What
We can say anything in this one because it's your podcast. I have to be really clean and proper. Go ahead.
You can say anything. No, we won the, do you know about our award?
No.
We were voted the #1 most vulgar reef podcast by vulgarreefpodcast.org.
Hey, bro, you need to take a timeout and you need to sit and you need to practice with the word vulgar.
Vulgar.
Hey,
oh shit! Now it has no meaning. It doesn't even mean anything to me.
It's like me.
It's not a river in Russia. The Volga.
Vulgar. Anyway, I want to do it this way. What was because I think people miss out on the small things like you're saying. So what was the first thing you noticed that you went, something's wrong?
That was going.
I'd probably have to go watch that diary because I've been through so much since it happened, 14, 15, 16 days ago. But I can tell you where I think things went wrong because it was like day 21. I was like, all right, here's where we are. This is what I think happened. I believe I definitely lowered my nitrates more quickly than I expected. I wasn't trying to go for some crazy number. I just have my tank's been at 80 forever. And I have used different products for the last 2 or 3 years, trying to find a product that works so I can say, this works. That's all I cared about. It's like the Brightwell brick treats 1,000 gallons. This is 450. I was like, perfect. I'll put the brick in there in, 3-6 months. My nitrates will come down.
Is it Mark? Mark, is that the one with the dimples underneath it?
Yep.
Okay.
And it just didn't do anything for me. And I was in constant contact with Jack Kent. I was talking with Brightwell. I was talking with MetroCat. I was trying to compare everything I was doing. I was sending them video of how it was set up, what I did, where it is, how much flow or lack of flow. I tried pushing on it to see if it was collapsing into dust, all the stuff. And it just didn't change anything. And finally they said, would you like to use a second brick? And I sold them. So I could say, well, I can grab one off the shelf, but do I really need to treat for 2,000 gallons to get rid of nitrate in a 450? It makes no sense. So anyway, after 8 months, I gave up and I tried Nopox. And I used that for probably 6 or 8 months. I went through like 5 or 6 bottles. I had the pink slime everywhere. I was constantly cleaning out my system and hating it. And it never touched a nitrate, but my phosphates were bottoming out. So I bailed ship on that one, said, forget it. And I tried vodka briefly, which I'd used years ago. And I was kind of getting desperate. And I was like, okay, I'll just throw vodka. I know that works. And I was double dosing it because I was like impatient at this point because I've been working on this for so long. And it was causing chaos. And I skipped that. I let the tank rebound again. And then finally, come to this year, I told Dwayne, the tank needs to be reset. I want to take out a lot of these giant corals and just reduce the mass to smaller pieces and get a better profile. And I want to clean out the sand bed that I've not been able to reach for almost 8 years because it was under everything. And finally, I wanted to take out anything dead, like on the underneath of the coral structures, and just get that out of the system. So we worked on the tank for about 3 days. We had like 22 hours into working on the tank. This was back in June.
Yeah.
And we went from 80 nitrate when we were done to 50. I was like, cool. I'm very happy with that. And then I waited about 3 weeks and I did another big water change and I got him from 50 to 30. And I was like, all right, we're cooking with steam. This is going to work. At that point, I installed something called Nitrate R from Brightwell, which is a resin that removes nitrate. And I put in a reactor and I didn't have any idea how that would work. And so what I did was I put it in, I turned it on, and the next day I tested my nitrate, waiting for a miracle. And of course, it didn't change one bit.
Wait, Mark, let me stop you real quick. Turned it on. Is this like a media inside of a reactor?
Yeah, I could show it to you. It's in a bucket over there, but it's just like little tiny beads like resin, like just, but they're kind of beige.
And let me ask you one more. Let me ask you one more question. So you had 80 parts per million nitrate.
Yeah.
But the question is, could you look into your tank?
Yeah.
What bothered you? Something you saw or just the number bothered you?
No. I had so many big corals that looked terrible.
Okay.
They were big, but they were unhealthy. There was everything was pale.
Okay.
Everything had no vibrancy. There was no color. I'd see other people's tanks like, God, I wish my tank could look like that. And I remember before I installed the Sky, I told Terrence, I said, you know, I don't know if this is a good time to change these lights because my corals just look like crap. And he was like, oh, you know, let's just do it. And I was like, yeah, I agreed to this way back last year. I said, okay, we'll just do it. And we put them on there. We measured the PAR to make sure that we were as close as possible to what my metal halides were. And to be honest, for several months, I was thinking earlier this year, I wonder if there's something wrong with my metal halides. I'm wondering if they are weaker. Like, did the ice storm somehow affect these ballasts? They're not putting out as much light as they used to. Is there just less wattage or something? I couldn't figure it out.
How old were the bulbs?
Nothing, a few months.
Okay.
You know, ballasts were new, bulbs were new. I've been, you know, I go through my gear.
Right,
and
right.
I replace things. You know, I mean, it's just like if I have a doubt or if something goes weird or wonky, I call up Reef and I say, hey, I need another ballast. I need another bulb, whatever. And I usually buy things in groups, so I always have a pile. So anyway, Terrence is here. We measure the PAR. And then, you know, he says, well, how long do you run the blue spectrum versus how long do you run the 10Ks? Because I had that twin arc bulb,
Yep.
10K for an hour and a half, and then it was 20K for like 5.5 hours a day. So Terrence did some math and he said, okay, the average PAR that your tank gets based on your 10K, 20K situation is this much. And then we measured under the skies and they were way higher. So we had to keep reducing the intensity and saving and measuring and doing until we got them equal to the metal halides. I was like, all right. And now the tank looked dim again to me, like I was already thinking.
Wow.
And I said, all right, at least they match. We'll leave it alone for like 3 weeks or so. At that point, my lighting was about 50% total of what the Sky does. And I know you run them too. So I, after about 3 weeks or so, and this was over 3 months ago, after about 3 weeks or so, I bumped up to 60%. You know, Dwayne runs his at 100%. You know, I'm just like, I'll go a little bit more because it's been almost a month. And the tank just got better looking. And I had SPS corals bursting out little tips out that never had. And I was like, this light is working. And literally the day before my tank was going to crap, it was so pretty. I was taking pictures of every coral, like, oh my God, things are fantastic. And the next day,
Okay.
I mean, I have all these pictures on the memory card from the day before, and I'm looking at the tank going, what just happened?
Jesus.
What did you fight cyano with?
Red Cyano RX,
Okay.
which is just like chemically.
Is that Blue Life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same ingredients, to be honest.
That's the one I use.
Yeah.
And then you did your water change and then things went bad.
Yeah, so the water change I did, remember, it's a 450 gallon system. I changed 150 gallons. So it's like 1/3. And that is so you can get your protein skimmer to cooperate, right?
Yeah.
And the protein skimmer, of course, did this volcano thing, and I don't care. I just let it drain into a nearby bucket, and I dump the bucket out as much as it wants to, and I keep putting in more salt water as much
Yeah,
as
that's what I do. Like wet skim. You were wet skimming?
Yeah. So when you dose with one of the red slime products, your skimmer goes nutty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're collecting, rather than trying to not let it go, you
Right.
just keep adding water.
Yes, new salt water.
Yeah.
So that way salinity doesn't change. So I ended up changing or dumping and wasting 50 gallons of salt water over the next 2.5 hours. So my water change went from 150 to 200, but that's still less than 50% of my tank. And everything was alkalinity, temperature, and alkalinity, temperature, and salinity were all the same. So I wasn't worried about any of that. And everything's swimming around as far as I know, except for maybe the purple tang. I don't know what happened with that purple tang because I was focused on the skimmer that night and I must have missed the excitement that happened in the tank. But out of 43 fish, I lost 1.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't want to come off like we're trying to like, that's not what we're doing.
No, you're
We're,
fine.
like, trying
You're
to
fine.
trouble solve Miller
No,
stuff. It's
yeah.
just interesting though.
Mark, I'm sure Mark knows that our brains are just going, we're all in.
What the
I mean, it's
heck?
what I do for a living, all of us. And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
all in
It's-
Sherlock Holmes mode.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm giving more detail because the more detail you have, the better you can come up to the conclusion.
The
Maybe
fish
just
is
agree with me.
crazy. I wouldn't know what the hell
So
even large
after-
water changes a fish would care about.
After that big water change, I checked the nitrates again, and they were at 15. I was like, sweet. That's
Whoa.
basically where I want to be. I want to be at 15. You know, that would be fine. Anything under 20 is good. I don't want to go any lower. And the next day after that, it went to 10. That Brightwell resin kicked in and did its job and sucked out more nitrate. And now I think that's the problem. My nitrates dropped
Technically-
too fast. And my alkalinity, I never brought it down because I forgot you're supposed to lower your alkalinity when you have lower phosphate and nitrate.
What was your alk?
10. And the third thing that I believe happened is because I treated for cyano, I think I killed off a lot of good beneficial bacteria that was probably inside the corals themselves. That's my theory. I think it was the loss of good bacteria, the alkaline was too high, the nitrate dropped too fast.
I mean, but then in that case, couldn't you almost say just too many parameter shifts at one time?
Yeah.
Leaving you no single smoking gun and leaving it confused.
No, I think it's a combination of those three things is what it was that caused all this. And it's depressing. I put the tank in streaming mode so you can actually see it. And but the camera's not going to focus because it's a webcam. That's why I said, if you want me to break out the real camera, I will. But
I mean, but Mark, this is, you know, man, we all live this. This is what, you know, this is what we all live. Like,
yeah.
You know, whether someone wants to, oh, Miller bombed his tank, whatever. Dude, you know how many tanks I've bombed? Dude.
Yeah.
Stand aside. You know, this is like the life of an aquarist.
Yeah, it's not if your tank's gonna crash at some point.
When?
It's when, and how fast can you catch it and mitigate whatever the problem is? You know,
right.
I had the problem with all of my NPS, all my dendros, 2 years in a row with, you know, them just dropping heads and they haven't really recovered. And, you know, you sit there and you pull your hair out and you go over it and you live it over and over again, and try to figure out what it was. And then 5 or 10 things pop up as possible culprits. And there's no way to tell which one it was. Yeah. But I got asked, because it was, you know, after the water change, could it have been anything with the water, the new water?
That's where we're at now with the ICP test, because several people said, have you done an ICP test? I'm thinking, how bad could it be? I just changed a truckload of water. If anything, it should be phenomenally perfect. And I got my results 2 hours ago, and I immediately grabbed it and sent it to you. And I thought you'd share it to Ben, and then you guys would be on here like, oh my God, look at these numbers. It all explains it now.
I mean,
I sent you a screenshot with the graphics, and I sent you the report, which is boring.
I
will send it right now.
Let Ben see it.
Mark, what's your normal water change regime?
Never.
Seriously?
It's so sporadic. It's very rare I do water changes. And
really?
My tank has just been humming along forever. And because the tank, this is the oldest reef tank I've ever had. My oldest one prior to this was 7. And this one here is coming up on 8. And I really believe that the sand bed has just been building up and building up for so long. And we did a lot of gravel backing in 3 different water, you know, with Dwayne, we did one part of the reef one day, another part of the reef another day. Then a month later, I did a big section in the middle of the reef. And then about 3 weeks later, I did another pass.
What sort of substrate is that? Is that special grade aragonite?
It's the Reef Flakes from Tropic Eden.
Okay.
And I love that sand. And I pulled out a lot of brown sludge, but I didn't come across black pockets. There was no sulfur smell. There was nothing weird coming out of it. It's just doing a really good deep cleaning, like getting your carpet steam cleaned.
I would explain for the beefers that if you're gravel vacuuming a sand bed, bless you. If you're gravel vacuuming a sand bed and you're pulling out gray pockets, that could be hydrogen sulfide,
right?
Which is anoxic, and it's not a good situation.
Yeah, but you did your sand bed change like 3 months before the crash.
I'd been doing sand bed washes, not changing.
But you've been the whole big thing with Dwayne was months ago.
Yes.
I don't think that's anything. Ben, I sent the numbers there. If you look at the chat that Mark sent over.
You know how I'm about technology, brother. I'm going to click something and it's just going to like, boom, there goes Ben.
I'm looking at these numbers, and I need to look at them with a chart of normal saltwater values or accepted saltwater values.
Well, okay, let's start with the first yellow. The first yellow is potassium.
199, that's low.
199, and that should be like 400. So it's half of what it should be.
It should be 300 to 400.
Right. Yeah, like 380, 400. Yeah. Cobalt is measuring 0 in its parts per billion, and you're supposed to have like a little bit of ppm. Iodine apparently is crazy high. I don't even know where the iodine's coming from. Like it's 19 when it's supposed to be like 0.02 or something. But again, that's part.
Could be the salt itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And manganese is, every single one of my numbers was too low.
Yeah.
Manganese was too low and zinc was too low. So
yeah, so yellow means too low, right?
Yeah, every one of these was too low. And I think potassium is my big problem.
It could be, but
I mean,
Oh,
Dude, just to,
Mark.
yeah, he's gone. He's out of here.
He just left.
I mean, to me, that's just like that's just like a catastrophic shift of many parameters. It's just,
yeah, I'm gonna go with that because, you know, any of these things, you know, an ICP, it's hard to tell. Yeah. You know, and I'd have to look at which ICP this is and what their limits of detection are and all of those kinds of things. Yeah. And I'd probably want to run it again and see if you got the exact same numbers or not. But none of these look terrible, you know. But if your nitrate went from 30 to 15 and 10 in a couple of days, that could be enough.
Yeah, it was at 30 for a while, like 3 weeks. Did my giant water change because of cyano treatment, took it to 15, which would have been fine as far as I'm concerned, but then it stripped it down to 10. And like I said, with the high alkalinity, the low nitrate, I think that was the zinger where the tank took too much.
You know what I gotta say, because I'm a silver lining kind of dude, is that you're Marc Levenson and the tank will look badass again.
Yeah. I hope so. Right now, I mean, anything can be replaced.
Buddy, look me in the eyes, Mark. It's gonna get better, dude. That's what we do.
Well, it really. I mean, how much worse can it get? I could lose every fish.
No. A dog's gonna come in and pee on your leg. Don't do that. Do not tempt the fates.
This is. I think this is a great topic, even though it's horrible. You're gonna be fucking torqued over this and drunk as a skunk for about a month, and then things are going to start to turn around a little bit and you're going to start to get excited again.
Yeah, I think in 3 weeks I can start planting corals again, and they'll probably be fine because they won't even have known what happened. They'll come in innocent. Those corals won't have any idea. The other corals are like, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened weeks ago. And these corals are like, what are you talking about? This feels fantastic.
You know, sometimes too, we get lost in our own little worlds and we don't remember what it was like to be a beginner hobbyist. And you're a beginner hobbyist, you're watching YouTube channels and it's like people you look up to, you watch their videos. And that's why I feel like it's important to show real life shit. It's important to show it doesn't matter who any of us are. We screw things up and then we go searching for answers. And then hopefully we kind of, you know, it's like mistakes. You don't repeat mistakes and we try to figure, you learn something from the mistakes. This is all important stuff to learn. There's no one on this planet that has a reef tank that never messes up.
Yeah.
You know, we had Dwayne on and he was saying that the thing about Dwayne, Ausreich.
I love that you say it the right way because he says it the wrong way.
He was saying, you know, if you have the main thing to know about having a reef tank is you're going to have to work.
Do work.
And you know, even, you know, if your reef tank is successful, you were going to have to tear it down.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's how it goes. The corals grow up, and as they grow up, the stuff that's underneath dies off. That's how reefs grow. So that's going to happen. I guess the other thing, because you're kind of in the same boat I am, except for me, it's phosphate, because I'm bringing my phosphate down or pretending like I'm bringing it down to see. And so I think it feels like you were doing with nitrate the same way.
Yeah.
I've got a high nitrate. I'll bring it down. Let's see if I can find something that actually works.
Yes.
And I think I would say to both of us, what the fuck are we thinking?
No, I had really unhealthy corals, so I needed to do it. It wasn't a matter of does it matter or you know, am I chasing a number? It literally was, if I want to have Montes that are the right color again, if I want to have the anemone not look half bleached, if I want to have the ability to add new invertebrates or new fish to the tank, I got to get these nitrates down. It was just time to deal.
All right, let me use a cliche. Let me plant a flag right there, because what I'm saying, it's crazy. We get these, you know, high numbers of parameters that we're like, oh crap, got to do something about that.
Yeah.
And all these companies make products that will bring it down. I think the next step in reefing, and we're not there yet as far as I know, because we're kind of beholden to the companies, is everyone knows is we've got to bring those numbers down slowly. But some of these products will bring it down like a crashing building. And so I feel like one day the next step in reefing is something that will allow you to take out whatever it is, take out a certain amount at a time.
Well, listen, when I talked with MetroCat, about the nitrate R, which is their product, it really should be called denitrator because that's what it is. I actually took a D out of a magazine. I cut it out and I glued it on the front so it says denitrator instead of just nitrate R. And I bought enough of that product and put it in a reactor. It was too much resin. I mean, I needed enough resin to treat 400 gallons of water. One jar treats 200. So I have this big, tall reactor. I've put in both jars, and then you turn on the flow, and it immediately wants to go to the top because there's no room. This stuff is the most buoyant resin I've ever seen in my life.
Mark.
And I'm like trying to adjust a ball valve, which you know is impossible, to get just a trickle to come out of this reactor so the beads rise slightly. And they're just like,
Mark, you know what that reminds me of? And let me ask you, what reactor did you use?
Next Reef, the blue one.
Next Reef. God, they don't even exist anymore.
I know. I still have two.
I have a couple in my garage. That's awesome.
Don't throw them away. They're awesome.
No, I've been using them slowly as like bioreactors filled with FS Substrate Pro from Eheim. But a good reactor for resins that want to be real buoyant is the Vast Marine Spyglass.
Oh, okay.
Because since it's cone shaped on the bottom, it takes a little less pressure. And I mean, I was just servicing one today that I run, not Purigen, but Aqua Filter, or what is it? Pure Filtrum. Okay. The Seachem, they're with the Aqua Vitro, they're like boutique thing. So it's supposedly like a more absorbent Purigen. But yeah, because Purigen's great like that too. You turn the bulb out, I was like, woo! And you're like, no, get out of there. And they make a little screenlet on the top to keep it from coming out.
Yeah, I had a plate on top and a sponge above that, but it was heading for the sponge, and I just thought it's going to clog. So anyway,
I know you, and I know you get knee deep into stuff. Like, what is the principle that this resin works on?
Well, okay, don't get me quoted on that one because I just was looking. I was desperate at this point. I've been trying
it on us,
for years, and I just said, "What do you got?" And they said, we have this product and it absorbs the nitrate and it's rechargeable up to 50 times, I think it was. And I thought, well, that's fantastic. If it pulls out 5 ppm and I recharge it and put it back in and pull out 5 and recharge it and put it, I'm not spending any money. I can just use it 100 times until this comes down. But the thing is, because of the giant water change, just where math comes in. Remember, I had enough resin to treat 400 gallons to bring it down 20 ppm. And I was already at 30. So when I did my 200-gallon water change, I suddenly had 400 gallons of resin on a 200-gallon tank. So it pulled it down overnight. Like I said, it went from 15 to 10. Literally, I was like, holy crap. And I saw the corals were pissed.
That would have been hard to pregame. That would have been hard to know that you were going to do that.
I never thought about the amount of water in the tank versus putting in brand new water with no nitrate was going to hurt me like that. It never dawned on me.
Reducing and diluting.
If I had used a less in the tall reactor, it would have been a lot easier to run because I have more space above it for the buoyancy. But I just thought at the time when I got the resin, I think my nitrates are still like around 60 or so. And I had it sitting here for a couple of months before I finally tried it out. So it was after the big reset and after a water change, okay, let me hook up the resin. Let's see if it can knock it down. But like I really thought I'd see like a 5 ppm change, take the resin out, go deal with it, and come back in. And I thought it would be kind of a thing I do once a week. And instead it did nothing. And then all of a sudden after the water change, it's like, I can do this. I can handle this a little bit. Yeah. And it slurped it all out of the water.
Yeah. So it's like when you're using GFO, right? If you're using a 2 cups of GFO and your phosphate's at 0.5, and then you start using 2 cups of GFO when your phosphate's at 0.1, you're going to take out the same amount you were taking from 0.5. Yeah, exactly. So you have to balance your media with your level.
I agree. And this is my first time using it. So I didn't even have any kind of experience with it other than hook it up and run the flow really slow.
Yeah. All of them are like that. That's why, we see a lot of people. This is another one of the reasons why I like to tell people who are, intermediate or newbie in the hobby. It's like, don't change freaking anything, because it can run away from you so fast. It can be so bad, and change only the one thing at a time. If you're doing, 3 things. And I totally get it. You were running the stuff and it wasn't doing much. It wasn't doing much. It wasn't even on your radar.
Right. I didn't think it had kicked in. I thought it would probably take like a month to get, colonized or something. And then it starts to do something. I expected that.
If it's, and I'm no chemist, but if it's in a resin, I'm supposing that it has an affinity for the certain charge of nitrate or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you recharge it?
Bleach?
How do you recharge it?
I don't know. I asked them to tell me how. And I said, how the hell do I even rinse it? This stuff is so fine and so buoyant. And I'm like, I don't own anything I can put this in besides a bucket. And I think I have to put it like in pantyhose or something, something that fine. So I don't just.
Mark, you've done Purigen before.
I haven't.
So I'm wondering if it's like that.
It probably is. I put pictures. They're like, oh, that looks like Purigen. I'm like, okay.
Well, like with Purigen, if you're not running it in that spyglass, you'd have to run it in that Chem the bag, that super fine bag.
A mesh bag of some kind.
And it's just amazing fluidizing it because it's like, it doesn't fluidize like anything I've ever fluidized before.
No,
like,
it's really neat.
Even if you nail it perfect, there's still like 100 little beads like up there and you're like, fall, come on.
And if you look really closely at the bottom, every single grain is moving. There's no channeling. Like any other media, like you said.
Purigen does that too.
Every bead is rotating and tumbling and barely, and you're just staring at it. It's like all in slow-mo, and it's almost like you're doing drugs. The way you're looking at it, it's so crazy looking. And I filmed it a little bit. No one could appreciate what it's like until you see it in front of your own eyes. It's really wild stuff.
I'm imagining that Purigen in an Avasmarine spyglass is quite similar.
Yeah, it probably is. I haven't tried that one you're talking about because I have these next Reef reactors. But if I did it again, if there was a need, I would probably just use half as much resin because I'd have much more room above for the flotation situation and not worry about the beads coming out the outlet.
I mean, that's like what I like to do whenever I run GFO anyways, because they'll have a certain, like, this is a size GFO reactor you get. I dismiss that. I go with the next size up.
Right.
And I don't over fluidize my GFO, but I just, I just want it doing what it's doing here. I don't want tons of headspace.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I understand. I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. So did you pull a bunch more corals out?
I've been pulling corals out.
Yeah.
I got to pull corals out tonight. I'm just like,
brother, it looks monochrome.
Well, it's the tough call. It's the same thing I'm doing with my dendros. It's like, maybe they'll recover. And they will, but at some point I'm going to be just sick of looking at unhealthy dendros.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll move them to here and hope they recover here.
But dude, if I had a quarter for every time that I was going to give up on a coral and it's now this big, seriously,
no,
you'd have $1.50.
No, I would have lots of dollars.
I usually leave the coral in there until nothing's left on it or it has stopped dying and there's some remainder and I let it regrow. I'll trim off the bad and save what's left. And that's what I like to do. And Dwayne was really, I talk to Dwayne daily. And he's just like, Mark, you got to pull that stuff out now. Just if it's dying, pull it. The bacteria is going everywhere. The warfare in your tank right now. And I'm just like, no, it's just this one and that one and this one and that one and that one. But there's like 9 good ones that are okay. And he's just like, I'd be pulling them. And I'm like, okay, Dwayne, when I had a full reef and we took out half of it, I was okay with it. I didn't even get upset. Matter of fact, Dwayne was freaking out as he looked at my tank because he said, I just took out half of Mark's reef that's on YouTube every single week. And he was like, how are you okay with this? Like, now, Dwayne, I want these nitrates down. This had to happen. I'm okay.
Mark, I know what's going on.
But then when I killed half of my half, now I'm down to a quarter. Now I'm having problems liking this.
Your tank as an entity was enjoying 80 parts per million nitrate. You lowered that and you pissed off your reef god. And it is aiming to get right back up there.
Yeah. This is reefing has got the worst gods of any religion because every tank has its own freaking god.
I had to start dosing nitrate.
Now you're dosing nitrate. Now you're just
only one day to bring it back up to 20. I just wanted to get it out at 10. I just wanted to stop the bleed, but it didn't help.
Fucking loop of fucked upness.
Can you believe that we live in an age where we're buying bottles of nitrate? It's still.
I should be selling bottles of water out of my tank.
Yeah,
that's probably where this comes from. A bad reef.
Yeah.
Sanjay and I talked about that. We were going to talk the water inoculation from our tanks. But man, we should all just be assholes. We'd be so rich. We could totally sell water from, individual people's tanks for no reason and say it did something.
On my live stream a few weeks ago, I was joking about this stuff, and I said, I swear, there's liquid in here. I'm not getting empty bottles from Brightwell and filling them up with water for my reef.
Right. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, tank sucks right now.
Tank sucks right now.
But you know what? I mean, I'm trying to be positive. I get some moments where I'm kind of okay, and there's parts that are okay. There's parts hanging in there. I didn't lose everything. I didn't lose all my fish. I didn't lose every coral in the tank. I lost a lot of SPS.
Mark, again, the most important thing is what's inside your head, though. You'll get it back there.
Yeah, well,
the SPS will come back, right? If you're going to lose anything, SPS is the thing to lose.
Yeah.
Because that's what it does. It also sucks at life. It's supposed to die. It's the reef building coral.
Actually, it's funny you say that, because when my son was talking to me the other day, and, I said, these corals are dying. He said, well, how long is their lifespan? I said, forever. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, as long as there's polyps, there's life. And they continue to grow, and the underneath dies, and it keeps growing up. And then a huge hurricane comes through and shatters it and sends life everywhere, and they start growing in a new spot.
But Rich,
it goes on forever.
Rich, you were saying no, and I was saying yes. I mean, kind of, isn't that the case? Where someone would say, like, how long on a reef, not in your aquarium, how long does the SPS grow? Like, that's kind of hard to say.
There's some studies that show that some corals have a lifespan of 7 to 10 years.
No way.
And then the colony crops out.
But doesn't that just mean that something outcompeted it? I mean, if it's just,
look up the paper and see what they have to say.
No, it's too long.
I need to read it to agree with that. That's no way. Because
that's science crap.
We don't have new species suddenly appearing. We don't. It's not.
No. It's not that. It's not like the species is going to go extinct, but one specific head of a coral.
Okay.
Some of them seem to have a lifespan.
Okay. And
sometimes we see that in aquaria as well, but that's a hard correlation to pull.
Yeah.
But in the wild reef, without the death, there's no reef.
Right.
There's got to be the death.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Underneath is the death.
Sometimes on top too, because then it just gets in a healthy system. It just gets recolonized and built on, and that's what and then it breaches the surface and dies again. Because it was too good at life.
That's why I said the storm breaks it and sends it elsewhere.
Is that the moral of stories? You have to be mediocre at life.
No, you have to be really good at life, and then you have to really suck at life, and then the mean is in between. But if you're mediocre at life, then you're just stupid.
Okay, that's me.
Mediocre Ben.
That's a terrible.
My name is Mediocre Ben.
No,
mediocre. I think in Latin, Ben is mediocre.
It does. It actually means father's helper in Israeli.
I hated my tank all last year, Mark.
So did I.
I'm starting to love it again, and I was in it today for about 2 hours because some stuff fell over and I had to move some stuff around.
Yeah.
So I'm in that phase of it again. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm leaving. I haven't done a big thing like that for 2 or 3 months.
Right.
And Ben, I made a bunch of frags of that blue stag. I dig
Mark needs some of that.
Mark can get some of it.
Mark, you can get some.
Mark needs everything. That time, I like it when there's like a rock slide in one part of the tank, and then you can work that one part of the tank and leave the rest of it alone.
Yeah.
So 6 months you'll be pulling your hair out because you'll have too much corals again. Hey Ben, this episode is powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab.
PolypLab. Here's one of PolypLab products I use. It's Reef Roids. It's a dried micro food. I use it for SPS corals and other corals as well. It's one of the go-to corals I use with baby corals when we're doing coral spawning. It's in the mix. I like this food a lot. And I also like the Polyp Booster. I put that in and it stinks to corals. It stinks like delicious meals, like delicious truffle fries or whatever
it's
corals
like liquid hamburgers.
It's like hamburgers. It's like bacon. It's like coral bacon smell.
It's
And
just
it makes
bacon
you
fat.
go, give me bacon. And then you pour in the Reefroids and they're like, oh, bacon, and they eat it up. So that's one of the products I use. I like them a lot.
Hey, one of the first things that I do when I walk up to an aquarium is I will shut the skimmer off. I will take a fat pinch of Reefroids. I will put it in the intake of the main pump, and then I'll go get the rest of my stuff ready. Meanwhile, that's, being blown into the whole tank. Everyone gets to eat what they want to eat. Then I do my water change. A lot of time it's by wet skimming, and I kind of skim all the rest of that out. So that's how I use Reefroids.
That's a great way to feed. So basically you flood feed before you do a water change.
Yep. And then I maintain the tank. So it's like get the food in and then pull it out.
Oh,
Here's
hey,
a product that I use. It's called One from PolypLab. Each capful, well, it has instructions on the back, but for like a softy tank, 1 capful per 50 gallons, and it goes up to heavy SPS. But it's a acetate, calcium acetate. But it takes care of alkalinity, calcium and magnesium. But you got to shake it before you use it. So it's not good to dose. So you got to shake it up before you use it. So it's like a hand. So it's something I use on smaller tanks. Like I would say personally below 50 gallons.
so not with the automatic doser, but why bother with 2-part? If you're doing it by hand, you can use that.
It's cool too. The acetate is used by bacteria. They break down the acetate.
So it's a little carbon dosing at the same time.
Yeah.
This is one of the filters, the PolypLab Evolve filter. And you put this on your phone to take pictures, and it's got different lenses, and the lenses make things different colors. So that's one lens. Of course, they're going to look weird because we're not taking a picture of an aquarium. But so depending on what your lights are running at, you put a different filter on, and it will show you at different colors. So it might be an easier way for you to get better looking photos out of your camera. It comes with 3 different filters, and there's different versions for different phones, or they just make one right now. But I like this thing a lot. I have another one that's clipped by my tank. It's clipped on the inside, so it's always there for me to use.
And here's their canister of super gluelets, baby gluelets. These little kind of single use, like a couple frags. You can pull a couple frags off of that. But I like that's little gluelets, so you don't like muck up the end of a larger container that you're using all the time. I don't know how many are in here. Was it like 50 count? 5,000? I don't know.
There's 100 million in there. And
I gotta pick them up.
They're great because if you're only going to do a little bit of glue, why waste a whole tube? So gluelets are good. So PolypLab, go check out their website and see what they've got. Their website's right over there, right there. This episode is powered by PolypLab. We really appreciate the power they give us.
Powered by PolypLab.
Powered by PolypLab. Hey, while we're on depressing topics and nobody ever talks about them.
Hey, I can always eat my feelings. I brought stuff with me.
Snacks. Oh, dude, come on, man. I'm a diabetic.
Dude,
you're killing me.
If you eat, I dare you to eat that bag of gummy bears and then just live in the toilet.
Is that Haribo or Black
I'd rather
Forest?
eat these.
What are those?
Wait, what are those?
The candy corns.
Oh,
dude, are you a
It's that
Satan
time of
worshiper?
year. I love these.
Are
Actually,
you insane?
These were a gift last year, and I haven't opened them yet because I like them.
Oh my god, dude!
I'm gonna be
I
with.
was thinking about eating them during the show today to make.
We
myself
can't
feel
be
better.
friends anymore.
Oh,
Dude,
Ben,
they were
you're
the best candy.
Ben, you're wrong. Candy corn is fantastic.
It is.
Are
It's
you
just like,
serious? I'm
You know
on the
what?
show
Okay,
with 2 Satan
ahead, Ben.
worshippers.
say what
No.
it tastes like. I want to hear what
No.
you say it tastes like.
Yeah, what does it taste like, Ben?
Yeah, it tastes like high blood sugar to me.
No, what's it taste like? A lot of people say
Candy corn,
cardboard.
it tastes
right?
like dried up toothpaste.
Yeah, see, that's not true. It tastes like icing. And if you can't taste icing, then you don't like cake.
It tastes like you had a birthday party for your kid and some icing fell under the table. And a month later, when you cleaned up, you're like, oh, look, some icing for my kid's birthday party. And you ate it.
What the fuck do you know, you diabetic freak?
I have eaten candy corn and I'm like, oh shit, that's not worth the A1C that my
God.
doctor's going to beat me over the head with.
That
Dude, use the gummy bears. No, Mark, please.
Oh.
Okay, gummy bears.
Mark is now my hero.
Are those Haribo or Black Forest? No.
Make
dude.
them
Gummy
make
bears.
fangs with them, Mark. Make fangs.
Yes.
Gangs with the candy corn.
That's a great
God,
idea.
dude.
Why did I never think of this?
You won't cuss, but you'll eat candy corns? Dude. No.
It's Vampire Levenson.
Put beefers, put in the comments like
Okay.
gummy bears or candy corns. Like certainly gummy bears. Please don't disappoint me.
Dude, gummy bears gives you the shits.
You know what? I would rather shit myself silly than
3
eat
pounds.
candy corns.
3 pounds. 3 pounds.
3 pounds.
That's a lot.
That's enough to put me in the hospital.
I know that's why you can't be part of the conversation.
It's a question of morality.
It tastes so good to eat. Oh, so good.
So I was saying, you had a couple deaths in your life in the last year, right?
Yeah,
and
thanks for bringing that up again.
No,
Needle.
It's okay. I've got my candy. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I was depressed a few years ago, and I found when I was depressed, it was really hard for me to care about my tanks and keep right. So, and people go through shit in their lives all the time. Did you find a drop in your tankiness, in your attentiveness, or was it solace for something to work on? Or
it could have been the opposite. It could have been throw himself into it.
That's what I'm asking.
Actually, it was way worse than that. So
Yeah.
I never get depressed. I've never been a depressed person. I've never understood depression whatsoever. I'm just a generally positive person all the time. This thing with Caitlin was so powerful for me. I mean, she literally died in my arms. It was unbelievable. And it took, I don't know. When I got to, that happened February 13th. Whenever Mother's Day was, that was a really bad day for me. And I mean, people are like, oh, it's going to be Mother's Day. You're going to think of her. But like, no, it was so bad that I was just like, I'm done living. I don't even want to live. And I called a friend and I just said, dude, you deal with suicide. I need to talk. And I just said, I need to talk to you. And I'm so done. I've done everything in my life I want to do. I've accomplished 2 businesses. I've got a huge reef tank. I've had a house. I've done this. I've had a child. I have a grandchild. There's nothing left. I mean, I don't want to just spend the next 20 years of my life washing dishes and doing laundry and picking up dog poop. Like, that's not living. And I just had no bucket list. I'm like, I'm done. And he was like, you need to get therapy. And that literally the next day I got on with the insurance company and tried to find out who I could use. I put out feelers everywhere and I started grief therapy that Friday, which was 5 days later. And I have another session tomorrow. I've been going for 4 months.
Good.
And I feel a lot better.
Like the Zoom, is it online?
Huh?
Is it online?
No, I go in person. I said to him, I want to do it in person this year. That's not a problem. I was like, okay, good. Because doing it through a screen seems so detached and just, it's so dishonest. When you're in a room with someone, you know what they mean. When you're talking to a screen, there's a filter or there's a lack of connection. Like, okay, I was watching your last episode and then it went into like episode 24, whatever that topic was. And I think it was that one, or maybe it was the one with Dwayne where Rich was like, forums are stupid. YouTube is stupid. Everything's stupid. You can't learn anything anywhere. And I'm like, well, then what's left? Being in person with another human being and talking to them. That's really what it comes down to. And I wanted to talk in person with a counselor and bare my soul, which I did. And every single time I went in there, I walked out, I cried and then I left and my day was ruined. And every week it was like this. And that was the most realistic version of depression I'm aware of, to where I was just basically done. And I've talked with her since then. And she said, you're doing a lot better. You're way different than the Mark I met 3.5 months ago. And she said, I think we should do it every other week. And to be honest, I think I'm back on my feet again. I told her I'm going to see her tomorrow and I'm probably going to tell her I'm done because I don't think I need to keep going now. I can talk about Caitlin. I can talk about my mother. It's not just tearing me up inside. Those feelings have, lessened.
Having been through stuff like that, and my wife is a grief counselor and has experienced.
Why didn't you tell me?
I mean, she's not a grief counselor. She's a grief person. She's a certified grief person. Grief is fucked up and we don't handle it well. So, make sure the door is still open and that you're very clear that if you're feeling anything, you go and you talk to this person again.
Well, I did ask her, I said, how does this work? I mean, do you just eventually say you're fine, get out? Or do you say, because I don't want to come here for like the next 6 years. I'm not doing that either. You know, I literally want to have some kind of
that's up to you.
a goal, you know, something to shoot for.
Yeah. I just know that people tend to go, I'm better now. And then they find out they're not, and then they're fucked up. So
yeah, but that's also like from my perspective, like self-assessment, whether it's what you think about yourself or whether you think you're done with therapy, is painfully wrong a lot of the times.
Is it? Yeah. I might keep going, but I feel like the thing is, back then I had, you know, the only things I wanted to accomplish were the things Caitlin and I had made plans to do together. So like, we wanted to paint these walls. We wanted to put out a garden. We wanted to this. I wanted to make sure I got those things done. And that was it. And I'm doing it for myself now. I'm not even doing it for her. I'm not doing it with her, you know? And so I was just so frustrated. But now, since that period, you know, because it's just a few months ago when you think about it, I'm getting more things done now. I started Reef Diary on a whim, you know, even though, believe it or not, I thought of it like in 2011 and put a post about it on Facebook. Like, what would you guys think about something? It's really short every single day. And I was like, holy crap, I don't even remember posting this, you know? And
there's people that, I mean, you have a huge fan base. There's people that gobble that right up.
Well, I had a lot of people that are super supportive too. And everyone keeps saying the same thing. If there's anything I can do, but no one can do what I need.
No one can do anything.
The only thing I want them to do is give me Caitlin back. And they can't do that. I mean, there's really nothing. I mean, coming here and boxing orders or coming here and gluing acrylic, that's not going to do anything for me. I can do that myself.
For sure.
On a good day. But anyway, since then, you know, like I've got a new building that's about to be built will become a new workshop outside of my home, so that my home will feel like a home and not like I'm at work, because it's been like that for a decade and I'm sick of it. I am ready to just have a living room with a reef tank that hopefully isn't hideous to look at. I was going to put a bunch of boxes and tape them all over the front and then get that thing that says "Pardon our dust" or whatever, like they always do in public aquariums, you know?
Under construction.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I was going to just like peel it off and show you how bad it is, but you know, it's stupid. So,
but it doesn't, during your bad time, it does, you kept up on your tanks? That wasn't an issue for you at all?
I kept them going. I took care of Jack. I took care of the tanks. Tried to take care of me. You know, I didn't gain weight, I didn't lose weight. I just maintained everything. And
stay away from those candy corns.
That I didn't open that bag till just now. I've had that bag for like almost a year.
Terrible.
The things that I had to go through though during those months was also getting the foundation fixed on the house, where they were literally bringing in wheelbarrows into my living room and down the hallway to bust through the slab to jack up a piece of the house and then pour concrete and leave my shattered tile behind. And I'm just like, and then I had a guy in the front working on the lawn. I had a guy in the back working on something else. I had him working on the roof. I had him painting the sheds. And it was all these projects. And it was like, there was never like just downtime, just me and a little bit of work. And it was a lot going on. And people are like, holy crap, how are you doing this? Like, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Hey, you know, you're talking about being in person and not in person. And I think there is something to it, but it can also be okay to not be in person. So with the guy I see, I was thrilled to move to online sessions, but I had 2 years with him in face-to-face.
Yeah. So
so now I'm like, this is great. I don't have to go somewhere 45 minutes, you know, driving or whatever. It's just, we just go. And I think it's kind of the same thing. It might be the same thing with the forums. You know, maybe my problem with the forums is that I'm looking for a conversation like this in the forums.
Yeah.
And I think without knowing those other people, it's hard to have this kind of conversation without somebody. And then of course there's always somebody who flies in and shits all over everything and flies out.
I mean, but isn't that like the hierarchy of communication, like texting and forum? What we're doing here is Zoom call, and then talking to a motherfucker in person. Like, and excuse me for I don't think this is woo-woo science, but we have evolved to speak face to face and feed off of like facial cues and body language.
Yeah.
And when you strip that away and someone says blah, 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 and you're like, wait, what do you mean? I didn't mean how you obviously took it, blah, 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 blah. And it's not the greatest way to communicate.
Yeah. And I think forums are great for questions and for light discussion. But I think the way the conversation is spread out over 20 pages, it's just getting real info is hard.
Well, you see, that's where we kind of differ, because I grew up, let's call it, on forums.
Yeah.
When I first found out about Reef Central in 2002, I didn't get it. I was like, I don't understand. I went to the front page and I was like, huh? And I went away.
Yeah.
And I went back to the fish store again. He's like, you need to go to Reef Central. I was like, I went there. What the hell am I looking for? And he said, go click on forums. I'm like, okay. I didn't even know what a forum was. So I click it and it was like lounge or something. And then it was like reef discussion. And it was like, oh, I mean, I heard the angels singing and I was like, this is my world. And I lived in there and I documented my tank for a decade in there almost. And I had like one of the longest build threads. Because remember back then, if your thread got too large, Reef Central the server couldn't handle it. And you had to split the thread and you had chapter 2. And I had like 19 chapters about my 280-gallon reef. And people loved it. And documentation went all the way back to day 1. And people could go to the first page and read through. And the thing is, like you said before, on forums, it's conversation, it's chatter. That's why in 2010, when I got banned, I was like, you know what? I'm done with forums anyway. I'm sick of them. I want blogs. I want you to write a big, long something. They can put comments underneath, but they don't interrupt what you're posting.
Exactly.
And on Reef to Reef, they do like 10 posts and it's page 2. I'm like, why do I have to go through so many pages? Why can't it be one nice long page? And they do it because they want their sponsor banners to happen more frequently.
You know what's weird?
I think we're on the same page. I'm going to run right over you, Ben. Fuck you.
No, it's cool. I do it all the time.
Because I think forums are really good for the person who is writing stuff.
Yep.
I think the best way to continue learning after you're done with the rank novice stuff is to teach and express what you think is going on. And I think forums are a great place for that. I also think after a certain point, so I think forums are, in a sense, they're kind of selfish. They're for me, not for you. And I think other people think that's where to get good info. I would much rather send people to an article or to a blog or to something where it's that one person who is telling you their experience rather, if you want to ask questions about specifics or even, minor generalities, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
But to really get some understanding, I think that they're a tough place to get them. Because remember, I lived on reefs.org for 15 years, the same way you were at Reef Central. Yeah. And I loved it. And then at a certain point, it's just like, this is where it's just the same questions and we're doing the same thing again. And it's the same people making the same mistakes. And why don't they know? We went over this 10 years ago.
We did.
And so
that's why Milos Reef has so many articles on it.
Yeah.
Whenever something irritated me, I wrote an article and then I linked to it everywhere.
Exactly. And then when people say, what do you think about this? It's like, read this.
Yep.
Here, this is well thought out. I'm not sitting at my computer on the toilet typing an answer to you. I actually thought about this and edited it and put it up there.
That's like any big forum that has a frequently asked questions and be like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, dude, look at the facts. Look at the frequently asked questions, because we have been talking about this like 50,000 times.
And in this environment, in this world now that we live in, everything's, apparently people love video more than reading. And I will explain a lot of details in a video, and then they will ask the questions about the things I said in the video, which means
look what happens on social media when you would or even just online news articles. And what most people do is read the headline, which is insane because headlines are written just to get you to read the stupid ass article. And sometimes the article has nothing to do with the headline. But I mean, people just read and, thank you. Steer away from the candy corn. No, but let's be honest too. I mean, I have a time and a place where I'll deep dive into stuff, but sometimes I'm exhausted and I'll try to catch myself if I'm like, hey, someone, what's blah, blah, blah. And, people are like, oh, let me Google that for you. It's like, okay. I mean, we all have that bit of laziness in us. So it's like, what do I do about nitrates? Like, read these frequently asked questions. Like, I don't want to do that. But, and that's what I would say. Like, if you're not willing, like what Dwayne Ostreich said is, hey, beefers, anyone watching this video, look at my eyes. Reef tanking is heavy lifting mental work.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work, physical and mental. If
Yeah.
that is not your gig, this is not your hobby. It's just simply not.
And I'll tell you, Mark, what you were saying about, people ask you what you said in the video. They do that in talks, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I gave a talk and I was like, there was a good 8 minutes of the talk about there is no best salt.
Mhm.
Stop looking for the best salt and blah, blah, blah. You can look that up and watch that if you give a shit. But, questions come around. The first question is, well, what do you think is the best salt?
Yeah.
And I was like, ah, ha, ha. And the person was not kidding at all.
Yeah.
And it was like, I fucking watched you sit. What the fuck how did this happen?
Yeah.
So I don't, but
that's funny because
that's why-
15, 20 years ago, you could have had that argument of what's a better salt. And truly nowadays, and it's been a while since I've seen it. Someone's like, I was using this salt and it fucked up my reef. Now I'm using this salt. It's like, dude, no.
It's the same thing as it was back then. Oh, make a sandwich of all the different snacks. Oh, look, he already did.
Trail mix.
Chug, 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 chug,
Chug,
chug,
chug,
chug,
chug, chug. Just spill it.
This is the best table ever.
Yeah.
I like articles and papers because you can read the chunks of them.
Yeah.
When they're written well. I don't like when they're just like written, stream of consciousness. It's like, here's a figure. Here's what I think. And here's a table. I think that's a good way to get information. That's why
I'm going to write an article called Not the Best Salt. And the title is going to be, here's how to figure out what's the best salt. And then the only body of the writing is just going to be, there's no better salt. That's it.
I think I did one of those.
Really? Like a 1-sentence article?
I know in one of the articles it talks about there is no best salt. There's only the salt.
What's the best salt? There is no best salt. Later.
Yeah, later. No, but you got to explain, it's the one you can get consistently. I mean, if you think Tropic Marin is the best salt and you've had good success with it, but you can't get it, then it's the worst salt for you. You got to be able to get the consistent product. And that's all that matters.
That's true.
I mean, I'm in Texas. I use Fritz because it is just super easy to get. And it's cheaper because it ships around less. It's just from Dallas to Houston. That's my favorite salt is Fritz.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in another part of the country and you're like, oh shit, Ben said he likes Fritz. I don't know. Figure out what's your closer salt. Is Instant Ocean closer to you? Something like that. But, when I was at the Houston Zoo, we used, what was that? HW Marine. We used that marine mix. We use that all the time. Tropic Marin, ever since I've been in this hobby, like it's like the holy grail. You jump over the, Tropic Marin. And Tropic Marin is great. But again, it comes from Germany. How hard is it to get? How expensive is it? Look around.
At Steinhardt, we used Instant Ocean for a long time when they were in Ohio. And then they moved to Vermont or Virginia. They moved. And then all of a sudden, twice the shipping to get the salt we wanted and twice the expense, and then it would wind up showing up randomly, which is something we couldn't deal with. So it was like, all right, we're going to stop that. And that's why we moved to our own salt mix. So
that was so neat.
There's a million reasons and things that go into picking a salt.
When I got to visit the Steinhardt and you showed me the salt and you're like, here's the recipe. And I'm filming. I'm like, oh my God, we know what's in it.
There's like cockroaches on the wall and leaded paint falling down.
It says this cup of that and 3 ounces of this and 14 of that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so much easier just to buy salt mix.
Probably right.
Or to just get water from Bob. Oh, I got to call Bob, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Bob.
Mark, if you could get Bob to drive to your house with his truck on fire.
Oh, this Bob. I heard you talking about him on another one. Yeah. Where he only brings 20 gallons at a time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He reached in his hands like this.
I was at Rich's house once. The second time that I came when Bob delivered like 500 gallons of water. And he's just this crazy California, like hippie dude, like throwback from like the.
He showed up. He's got big white hair, except he often shows up. He rides motocross. And he's got all this white hair and he's often got these big Viking braids in his beard.
But you look at his old body and you're like, how is this dude like
alive?
Jumping hills? Like, I couldn't do that. Like, how does he not break?
He breaks. He always comes in. He's like, "Oh, I'm not riding for 3 months," or
You know what, dude? Neptune bless that guy.
Bless that guy. Yeah, right. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richardo.
I really like saltwateraquarium.com. You know why?
Why?
Because they sponsor our show. But besides that, I liked them before they sponsored the show. But I like them because they've got almost everything I want. I can get from them, and they ship it to me really, really fast.
They do. They have 3 locations across the continental United States to get your products to you with a quickness.
Yeah, I needed some more calcium reactor media. Boom, it was here really quick. It was shipped the same day I ordered it. It made me very, very happy.
Sweet. They also have discounts too, like reoccurring ordering. You can stack up like discounts for that. And also they give discounts for military and
military, first responders, civil servants, all kinds of discounts. So check them out. And you get 5% reward points on 90% of the products they have. The returns are free. You can do with PayPal and financing, free 2-day shipping, tons of free stuff. There's a free stuff section on their website that you can check out.
Really?
Stickers and stuff. It's kind of fun, actually. And you can pay with Amazon Pay. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how great they are, I think. PayPal financing.
Right. I've even ordered through there for a client. They have special deals sometimes on like used equipment. We got a used Seache pump from there, but I mean, it was barely used. So they have like, it seems like kind of unorthodox, but it's interesting. They have like special deals if you look hard enough on there.
They also have text message support. Did you know that? Here's the number for that. I'm going to say it. 717-408-8337. 717-408-8337. They say no one uses the phone anymore, but just text them and they'll do their best to give you a hand. They do live chats on the web Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. They're great. And like we were talking with Marc Levenson, their cleanup crew critters were pretty good when I ordered them. So
yeah, and they do that in-house. They don't rebadge someone else's stuff. It's in-house for them.
Yeah. So saltwateraquarium.com, they've been a long-term sponsor, and they're great, and we really appreciate them. So check them out, saltwateraquarium.com. Do you have any beefs?
Actually, I have a small one, but it's not even worth talking about.
No, dude, don't even. You said it.
This is the most stupidest thing ever. 2 people that I'm friends with for some time purchased a sump from me, and they were super patient. They dealt with the waiting months to get this order. They said, "We understand what you're going through. Whenever we get it, we get it. All we care about is your mental health." And I was like, okay. So, because of that, I should give them a pass. But they recently wanted a snowflake eel. And I'm just like, well, I mean, you got to put a cover on the top because it could jump out. And within 24 hours, they had a snowflake eel. And they made the cover. But the problem I have is with Kayla, who decided she needed to name it. And so the first thing she did was type into Google names for eels and just looked at a random list of some stupidity, right? And then she didn't even use that. She just kind of looked around the room and saw something and said, that eel is now called Graham Cracker. Graham Cracker. Graham Cracker. Think about that.
Graham?
Think of the shape. It's a rectangle. It's flat. It doesn't look like an eel. So I sent her a very brief video of graham crackers. And I said, does this look, matter of fact, can I even show it to you guys? Is there a way to show it on here? Because it's like 10 seconds.
I think there is a share screen.
Let me see if I can share it on my phone. That would be awesome. Let me
Graham cracker.
You just hold your phone up to your camera.
I'm gonna call graham crackers Graham crackers from now on.
Oh, I can't. It says I have to be I have to be in charge. All right, whatever. So let me start at the beginning. Let me get.
Oh, this is fucking Ben level technology.
It is.
Here we go. So
This
let me
is
get
probably better than me. I would pantomime it out.
So let me turn up the volume too, so you can actually hear it. Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel? Does this look like an eel?
Hey, that's Golden Grams.
I'm just like, it
Don't
doesn't
besmirch
look
Golden
like an
Grams.
eel at all. Even if you add milk, it doesn't turn into a snowflake eel. It's not an eel. It's like table, screwdriver, salt. I'm
You're
just like,
trying to steal her thunder.
I'm just like, can you give this poor animal a logical name? Like, I got an adorable, tiny snowflake eel, the smallest I've ever seen in my life, maybe 5 inches long, as thick as a pencil, just adorable. And Caitlin and I put it in that tank, and she looked at it, and she said, "That's Flurry." And I was like, I love that name. That is
No
perfect.
Flurry.
And she gave it thought and came up with a name. This woman just looks at something on the table,
Doorknob.
says gummy bears, doorknob. And it's irritating me. I don't think it's fair to the animal. I seriously,
I just got a Picasso triggerfish and I named him Doorknob.
I can't take it.
Hey, but that's it makes her happy.
And they're
I
like,
know,
wow,
shut
they're
up.
really upset
Shut
about
up.
this.
Shut up, Ben. This is a beef. Do not fucking take away Mark's beefiness.
Kayla, it's okay.
Shut
No.
the hell up, Ben.
No, Kayla.
Graham Cracker is a waste of a name. It's an
It's
opportunity
stupid.
gone bad.
Kayla, I'm on your side, Kayla. Become a beefer.
You know what? When that eel first jumped out of its bag and landed in a trash can, why didn't she just call it trash? I
Yeah,
mean, come on.
that I get that.
At least
Maybe there was a
something
graham
logical.
cracker in the trash. A Graham cracker.
Graham cracker for an
Graham.
eel. It's even slightly racist. I don't even know what to do with this information.
I think it's more than slightly racist, my friend.
That's full on.
It's dry. It's flat. It's a rectangle. Ugh. Anyway, that's my beef for this week.
Wow.
That
That
is-
might have been the best beef we've ever had.
I gotta be in agreement with that. That is I think you and Craig Bingman are the only ones to come on so far and really give a beef.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Like a
awesome.
strong beef.
I mean, because the thing is, everything else that we read about or see or whatever, I don't usually have like massive doubts about the human being. I tend to think they legitimately want to answer their question, and we try to give them information so their stuff can live. And I remember years ago, there was a thread. Rich hated the thread. Oh my God, he was all over that thread. He was like, no. And I was just like, what if he's right? And you're like, no. And I'm just like, okay. And it was just a simple thing about ick. And this guy thought that ginger would help fight it.
Oh,
And he lost his mind about it. I'm like, well, what if a little ginger does solve it? Wouldn't that be neat? And Rich is like, no.
maybe a little gasoline would fix it.
I was like, no, because someone like you going, wouldn't that be neat? Makes more people use it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, are you
If
just
it worked?
But
would
it
be
didn't.
good.
but it
Mark's an enabler.
but it didn't work.
Yeah.
And we knew it didn't work.
But
Well,
someone's
using
like,
the
I
note
added
you tried
gasoline
it.
and it got rid of velvet. And Mark's like, that would be neat.
But the thing is, Rich didn't even try it. Usually he tests. He's skeptical, right? He's like, I got this fish. It's covered in ick. I've actually battered it with ick on both sides. and now I'm doing zest of ginger on top, and it's not getting better.
Because there was no reason to test because all the earmarks were there, right? He had already said he used it and he was using other things at the same time. Okay. Then he said, I put it in and 4 days later, the spots went away. It must have been the ginger.
Yeah.
We
What
know that's not how it works.
But 4 days it was doing it. My resin took 16 days to kick in.
Oh my God, I'm going to.
And then you don't hear from him later on when Tromonts and Trophonts, when they come back on.
Mark's
I
just
mean,
fucking with me now.
No. If it didn't work, it didn't work. But I remember the time when the thread happened, Rich blew up instantaneously. I mean, it wasn't even like let me test the theory. No. He's like, we've done this 200 years ago. Bullshit.
And because by the time I got to the thread, it was already so clear that it was just post hoc ergo proctor hoc. There was nothing behind it at all. It was so clear, and everyone was like, "Woo!" And remember in that thread on page 10 or something, I wrote,
He still remembers.
I wrote, watch this, and then like page 11 came around, and I wrote, I tried vitamin C, and the spots went away. And then people were like, "Oh, vitamin C!" I was
Vitamin
like,
C.
"No,
Yes.
no."
You did it, Rich. You spawned vitamin C.
Yeah, no, and then it was still people saying vitamin C, vitamin C, vitamin C.
And now companies are marketing for it.
So it's fine, as Tim mentioned, says, you want to have an open mind, but if it's too open, your brain will fall out. And you don't want that to happen. We can use our critical thinking facilities to make pretty good judgments. So yes, it would be fantastic if ginger cured ick like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
But it doesn't work. Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Yeah.
Hey, can we call
But
this
gummy
episode-
bears and candy corn. And you know what else cures it? Graham crackers.
Graham crackers.
Graham crackers.
Graham.
Snowman, the name of this episode is Graham crackers.
Oh, that would be
Not graham
fantastic,
crackers,
because she would have to watch
Graham
a whole
crackers.
hour until we say it.
Let me see. But not Graham, Graham crackers.
That's what it
I
says.
insist.
Graham crackers. We might actually put your beef up front. Sometimes
No, make her go through the whole show.
We
I
will
want
find
her
her.
to stumble on this. at
She's
the end,
our
like,
next. She's going to be our next guest.
Ah.
Kayla, get at us.
Let's see. There's a housekeeping thing here. Last episode I talked about using those thin
needle nose.
no, not the needle nose. I talked about these from H2O Foods, the thin
H2O
basters.
Foods.
It's this thin baster, and this is what I do to them.
Holy cow. That
Right?
looks like something from a nightmare.
And it's great. And I use this one to feed. I forget what we were talking about using it for. For basing acroweeding flatworms. So now you can get up and under the coral and squirt up and under it. So
You could probably sell that to the medical community.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean.
That could be a prostate exam.
Exactly.
Oh, could be.
You could be rich.
He
You
is
are
rich.
I think that's the only thing I wanted to clear up from last time. So there.
Oh, I want to clear up one thing. The last episode we had where I was talking about John Gus fittings and using hard RO tubing. And if you wanted to do soft tubing, use a stem to barb. But so today I was looking at, we could put a video on here, but most people have a Neptune dose. And so that thing is going to prefer better a soft tubing where it's the nipple and then the nut that goes over it. Because there's a lot of times where I see people trying to put hard RO tubing on those situations, and it doesn't make a good seal. It's the opposite, of this. This wants a hard tube, and a dose wants a soft tube.
I'm going to disagree with you 100%.
Well, yeah, because there was a popular thing to replace the nipple on there.
You replace the nipple with a speed fitting.
Yep.
And then use hard tubing.
So it's not really a disagree.
It is.
Hey, you guys were talking about metal tools getting ruined, and I thought about that some more. And it was not recent. It was, like I said, episode 24 that was playing on my television screen. And Ben said how his last forever. And I was thinking, why can't you put these tools inside, not 3D printed, that's going to break in your hand and you know it. Why can't you put it in something like glycerin or rubbing alcohol to displace all the water so it'll last? What do you do, Ben, so your stuff lasts longer besides
this isn't a placement for BRS, but I was introduced to that Dow Corning 111 from BRS, and in the summer, and you're a Texas guy, it's hot as shit here. Yeah. So I take my tools out. I have a channel lock that's 15 years old. I have tons I'm a tool guy. Right. I have tons of tools that are super old. So, I don't just do this in the summer, but I do like to go in the summer. I'll scrape something up. I used to do this because they don't even get that rusty anymore. Right. But I would scrape something with a metal brush, and I would put the Dow 111 on it, just sit it in the sun, let it sit, and then I'd wipe it off and throw it back in my bag.
So it's some kind of a rust remover.
It's not really. I've used navel jelly before. If you have a beat up tool, you put navel jelly on it. It's like an acidic jelly and scrape it off. But and Rich says no. And I used to use boiled linseed oil until I found that Dow 111 was made for the coffee industry to lubricate O-rings on coffee machines. Okay. And the whole impetus behind it was that it was pure enough to pass like the Food and Drug Administration. Yeah. So I figured if it's good to go for that, then it's probably good to go for the, in Reef.
So what is it? A liquid?
No, it is a petroleum product, but I think it's like an extremely refined petroleum product.
But I mean, it's like you could have a tray full of this liquid and you could put the tools in it, right?
It's not a liquid, and I know what you're saying, like a glycerin, and you just throw your tool in there.
And force the water off so it can't rust, and then take it out and wipe it off, and it's protected.
I worry about like WD-40 though. I worry about the residuals on that, that it would, and that's the whole reason that I went to the Dow 111, because I figured if Food and Drug said it was fine to use that on stuff that people were eating, then it was fine if I kind of lubricate my tools and then dry it off. And
I'm just curious.
I don't buy. Go.
Are you saying that are you using it as a lubrication, or do you care about the rust?
I mean,
this is a question, because most people I find are worried about the rust. Like, if you put a rusty tool in your tank, it's the end of the fucking world.
No, I wouldn't think that.
No, because look, that's fucking Rustville.
I'm not afraid of the rust getting in the tank. I'm afraid of buying a tool and it just goes to shit and I throw it in the trash.
Yeah, okay, that I can agree with, because these have both got the springs, the scissor springs.
Yeah, I love those.
Rich agrees with me. Yay.
This one has got a regular spring.
Yeah.
And it's harder to get going. So I bet you if I wet it, it would work.
You bought that whole tube, my man. Oh my God.
Could you use the Molly coat on that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, Molly coat. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Dow Corning Molly coat 111.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. The Molly coat. Okay. Yeah. That's like a paste. Okay.
It's like a silicone slime O-ring.
Yeah, slime. Yeah.
Yeah. Slime. Mark,
this one
if you were ever going to say a cuss word.
I did. I said the BS word for Rich.
You did? You said bullshit?
The BS word. Look, I got it wet and now it's springing again.
You fixed it.
Throw it in your closet and get it out tomorrow.
Oh, that's sad.
And you got that whole tube of Molly coat.
I don't know where
Did he lick it up? Did he just lick that? I didn't see.
Probably. And I'm a tool guy, man. That's sacrilege. Take care of your tools.
I don't know where I put the Molly coat.
You didn't get spanked enough as a child, did you?
Dude, I got beat with sticks and bones. They put bones out and hit me with bones.
They tied the bones to the sticks, and then
that's right. And they put me through a paper shredder.
Well, you were beaten by an addle-addle?
An addle-addle?
I just always wanted to use the word addle-addle in a sentence.
I was beaten by a graham cracker.
A graham. Please use the proper pronunciation. Wow.
Okay, so before the show ends and you guys hang up and I don't get talked to for another year, if you could do me a favor and actually look at my ICP stuff and give me both of your opinions of what I should do to solve my numbers, I'd love to get your feedback.
I'm going to gasp at your cobalt numbers. And the only reason why is because, and I'm not a chemist, don't take me too seriously, but the whole ICP thing makes me roll my eyes a little bit.
Well, I have corals that hate life right now. So
your cobalt is way too high.
Like they're probably true.
I need someone to tell me what cobalt does.
Cobalt is 0. I think we got a pretty good handle on why your corals were mad at life. I'm not, there's nothing that's jumping out at me. I mean, the potassium's a little low on this reading. So I would send another one. Right away and see how it compares. But I'm not seeing anything here that looks crazy. You know, your lanthanum is really low. That's nice.
Which is amazing because I use Phosphate RX whenever I want to, and it never, ever shows up on ICP.
Your lithium is low, which is weird for America.
Your corals are depressed.
I have a Mila's Reef RODI system.
You know, your vanadium. Ooh, vanadium.
Your Americanium is too much.
Rubidium. God, don't ever dose rubidium. It's not bioactive.
I don't know why I don't have more uranium. I mean, come on, guys.
Well, get on the stick, break into Area 51, get some uranium.
What is that, Naruto running? I'm too old for that shit. I don't know it at all.
Yeah, everything, Mark, I think everything looks fine. I'd be really interested if you sent another test in to compare it to this one.
Okay. What I did was
and this would be prohibitively expensive. It would be cool when you had a question to send a test and wait 1 or 2 days, and before you even got the results back, to have sent another test, and then just see, like, they come back and they're far different, and that would make me go, wait a minute,
Well, they often are, and that's why I'm looking at these numbers. This is ATI, right? Is that who this is?
This is salt. This is ICPanalysis.com.
Right. Okay. There's nothing jumping. There's nothing jumping out at me that's going which is the only thing which is what I use ICP testing for. Is there's something make me scream.
I think potassium, it's half of what it should be.
I think potassium is supposed to be 300. Reefers like to run it at 400. Is that right?
Yeah, I heard 380 to 400.
Okay, no, you're right. And Justin was doing it like 800.
Wow,
just incredible.
Yeah. So with the potassium, if you're worried about that, I would get another potassium. I would double check that and see if that's aberrant. Because I had chromium come back super high, chromium and arsenic. And wrote to the company, and they were like, I looked at your stuff and the arsenic was wrong. It's like,
wow.
No, but why am I trusting
Yeah, that's the whole point. They have one job, to give you the numbers. And
right.
Give you the wrong numbers doesn't help you as a hobbyist.
Yeah, and then I start going, oh God, I don't know what to do about your numbers anymore. Right. I'll run another.
I sent in an RODI sample as well, which is in your chat. And that one is all zeros. I mean, everything was fine. There was nothing, one flag on my source water, because I was wondering if maybe the city was putting something in the water for summer. And
arsenic.
Yeah, like arsenic or something.
They're trying to kill you.
Or chloramines or whatever.
I had a recent test and there's a little chromium. And then I did find the remnants of a wood screw in my calcium reactor. So
that's the worst place.
But the question is there really a connection between the elevated chromium and that screw, or am I putting those two together because that's the test? It just
feels like it. Yeah,
it becomes impossible to tell.
Yeah,
it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with all the genetic testing and the eDNA testing and where that goes.
I would like to do the biome test as well, and somebody got one of those results back and said it didn't help him because it didn't give him any solutions or advice or what bacteria to put in. He just had a lot of one that was the wrong one or something, or too much of that one.
And is that bad or not? So the cool thing about sending your water in is you're helping that guy, that company build a database to compare things to.
Yep.
It's in its infancy.
But if you're looking for an answer, there's a lot of people who are getting it. Oh my God, I've got flatworm DNA. It's like,
yeah.
What are you going to do? What's the actionable action? You're going to rip down your tank now?
Yeah.
You should. Everyone, go rip your tank down.
Rip your tank down.
Don't listen to Rich. He's just grumpy. He doesn't have enough candy.
Start again. I know I don't have any candy.
You're such a health nut.
I am now getting depressed, and then being at home for COVID did not help my health. My fatness.
Are you
That's
off?
why we started this podcast, so I can tell jokes to Richard and he can laugh.
But my child is gone now. She's gone to school. So the feeding in the house has changed already. So that's
how come her name is always Beast or something? You never actually call her by name ever.
Because Rich is so famous and he didn't want people
does she have a name on a birth certificate, or is it literally Beast Ross?
She does. She has a name.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Her name is
never said it.
The Beast.
Yeah,
the
that makes
Beast.
sense.
Her first name is The.
No. Her name is
Middle name
Kaylin.
Oh, that's right.
Kaylin.
Her name is Kayla, and she's the one that talked about Graham crackers.
Graham
you
crackers.
pissed off his daughter.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ben Johnson.
Ricky Bobby, you get that bobcat out of my car. It's a cougar.
Here's a screw from the pump that provides air.
Eat it.
To my skimmer that we just never put back on.
You know what? That's about as palatable as a candy corn.
No, candy corn's better.
You're wrong.
You're
wrong. Mark, if to end the show, if you were to give one piece of advice to the reefing world, one piece, what would it be?
Make really fast, quick changes on your reef tank. Because seriously, right now, every single picture of everyone's tank is irritating me because they're all so pretty. And I'm just like, and I would love to see some more death and mayhem all around me so I could feel a little bit better about
100%
myself.
water changes daily.
Go to my website and look at my anatomy of a disaster. It'll make you feel better.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, it's really frustrating.
Just look at my life.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's so
Well,
bad.
I
I think I'm
appreciate.
gonna pour this in my tank tonight. Just the whole bottle. That's gotta be enough potassium. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Numbers are bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mark,
how much could possibly be in here? I mean, more than one banana.
It'll cure it.
I mean, that totally worked out with the nitrate reducing stuff. So it would probably work out totally with the potassium.
Yes.
Now
I
we
should
know
roll
how
the
to.
resin in this and put it back in the reactor.
Yes.
Now we know how to kill purple tangs.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Whatever the hell you did.
I don't
Hey,
even
check
know where
it
to
out.
get another one.
Here's my Molly code.
Yeah.
You found it. Now you can save all your tools.
Mine's in my truck being used.
But that's funny because this was not working, and then I just put it in the tank, and now it's working.
And
called
now leave it
lubrication.
alone for a day and then try it.
And then when I go to use it, I'll put it in my tank,
And it'll work.
and it'll work. You're fun. You're fun to make crazy, Ben.
Because I'm already crazy.
This from Mr. Green Eheim Tubing Boy.
That was then. This is now.
Now it's just green screen, boy.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have Matt back on, and we'll talk about the Green Eheim.
Don't.
Oh yeah.
You know, Eheim used to be Eheim North America. Basically, was here in Houston, and that's how that happened. It what was it? Cal Adger was the dude, and he had Hawaiian Marine Imports and brought in all Eheim stuff and all German stuff, Aqualine, Bushk, and just on and on and on. All the German stuff came through here, and I used to get stuff from there. And so he just had miles of green hose.
Oh, real quick, Rich, before you end the show, because I know you're
Yeah.
going to end it for like 10 minutes. You talked about, and I didn't even know this until I heard both of you talking about this on 2 different episodes, that saltwateraquarium.com does cleanup crews. And you said
Yep.
you'd give an update. I don't know which episode that is, so can you give me the update now so I know?
Yes, I can give you the update now.
Can we segue into a saltwateraquarium.com commercial?
I don't.
Well, then it seems like I was paid for this.
No,
I
I don't-
just want to know the truth.
Yeah, no, I thought the cleanup crew was great.
Nice.
They sent me what I wanted, and they were all of good size, and they were all healthy, and they arrived when they said they were going to arrive.
Right.
You know, it was not a big deal.
What'd you order?
And the coolest thing I thought was cool, besides getting the stuff alive and what I asked for, which seems like it should be not that hard, was that each bag was printed for that species.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, you know, usually you're like, what is this? And I'm trying to remember. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's some scrawl on there. Sometimes
Right.
there's not. And sometimes there's a tiny.
These are all labeled.
I thought that was pretty cool.
And
Mark,
Ben,
have you
ordered
ever
from
met
as well?
Kenneth?
If you guys talk at the same time, nobody knows what's going on.
Ben, did you order them from them as well?
Blah, 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 blah.
Ben, did you order from them as well?
I mean,
Ben, did you order from them as well?
it's tricky for me because I get wholesale. So like, you know, it's like I could order that retail, but it'd be like, why a little bit?
Did you
But
try?
I know Kenneth really well. Have you met Kenneth?
Yes.
Super cool guy.
Right.
Super laid back, cool guy.
I think as they ramp it up, it'll be great. You know,
Well, 'cause I need a cleanup crew and I want to order. And I was thinking reef cleaners. I miss Keys Critters in Florida.
oh, for
That was
sure.
my place.
Give them a try. I have no idea where they are on, you know, volume. But when I looked at this was like 2 months ago at the beginning, you know, I would flip through and I was looking for some specific things and they had them. And
Nice.
so, yeah, I'd love you to try them. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they would too.
Well, I want to throw something in here so they can eat the stuff on the rocks, I guess, because the corals are gone.
But do you need more stuff to kill?
I just want the rock to be, I mean, guys, you just don't understand. I want this behind me already. I just want to put in live rock enhance and let it start cleaning the rock right now. And it was like, quit putting things in your tank. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't stand it right now. I want to fix things.
Quit putting things in your tank. You know what you should actually do?
Nothing.
Stuff's not dying anymore, right?
Sort of.
Okay. In a week or so, put cardboard up on the tank and then don't look at it for a week.
That's
just
basically what I wanted to do a week ago.
just look in. Well, you can't yet because if something goes down, you want to see it and pull it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
or
Now,
cover it up and just look at it once a day.
Yeah.
can you see this? Can you make that out?
It's
That
a
looks
very
like
white
green,
thing.
green chalice that is white as snow
Oh my
with-
God.
pinkish mouths instead of red. And that thing was like 5 colors. Now it's brown. And that one used to be hot pink. And that one is kind of white and gray. I'm like, these are the wrong colors.
Like, seriously, your tank went monochrome?
In some parts, yeah. And I lost a lot of SPS. So.
But you have, I know your Naso tank's kind of famous.
Yeah, she's fine.
What's her name?
Spock.
Yeah, that's right.
Because she has Vulcan eyebrows.
Yeah.
Graham craft.
Yes.
Saltine.
Yeah, I'm going to name her Flashlight.
Flashlight? What'd you say?
iPhone.
What'd you say? Flashlight? What?
Mark said fleshlight.
Mouse. I don't know. I mean, just anything in your line of vision. That's the name of the product now. I mean, the name of the animal. Stupid.
Best beef ever.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right. And on that note, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your stories and shit.
Go back to your freaking, what are the crap
Tank
called?
of Death?
Candy corn?
Yes. I'll go back to my tank of death.
And that was Reef Beef with Rich and Ben, and powered by PolypLab and saltwateraquarium.com. We'll see you on the flip side, yo.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Hey, Richard. Yeah, Ben. I'm actually whispering this time. It's fantastic. It's got me all titillated. I've been practicing my ASMR. Yeah, what kind of reefing thing should we ASMR about? It's just, just practicing whispering. Yeah, but we should use it for something. So pick a reef thing and we'll talk about it with ASMR. Hey, you know how people used to sell it's like such a cheesy creature, but the Lima, the little flaming scallop, and then they had the electronic flaming scallop. Do you remember that? Those are like, okay, I think number one, you stopped whispering. And number two, I think you don't understand ASMR.
Yes.
So let me show you what we mean ASMR. So I'm gonna feed reefroids, right? So right now you got it. So I'm gonna slowly open. Oh yeah, shake it. Shake the one. Put it closer to the mic so we can hear it.
Oh my God. I don't know what we're doing. Everything good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You did not see me playing with my toys. Space balls. Watch out.
Now kiss.
Druish princesses are often attracted to money and power, and I have both, and you know it. Oh. I did not see you playing with your toys again, sir. What up, Rick and Morty? I am actually.
My daughter bought those shirts. One for me and one for her.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, your hair looks cool.
Thanks, baby.
Did you get okay braided? Cool. Man, I gotta do that to mine.
You 70s fuck star.
Yeah, but look. A little while ago I had the hair going over and I was looking at myself and I look like that douchebag from like Poison or Motley Crue, or isn't that the same person?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So where's my picture?
I don't know, man. You got to supply your own picture.
Give me 1 second.
I look red. Do I look weird?
You look red and weird.
Do
No,
I?
you don't look red.
Okay.
Hey, I figured out why sometimes I look like red. Why it looks weird is when I use that orange background and it freaks out the color balance.
Okay.
Yeah, you're green behind you right now, Ben.
Yeah, Jeff Sarwin sent me a green screen. So just to be silly, I put it up, but I'm not putting anything on it.
I was going to say, I loved when you had the secret lab behind you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was great. Yeah.
That
Ben,
was Jason Langer.
Do you know how to put something on the green screen? You don't.
You know,
You don't.
like this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, you see, I love when Ben talks a good game. Like, yeah, I was gonna do something, but I thought this was funny. He has no idea how it works.
Can't bullshit a bullshitter.
It's excellent. I'm
Mark,
glad
let's
we
go
could
ting. Come on, ting,
Here we go.
ting,
Ting.
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 Take it
No,
out.
your candy corns.
Oh, yeah, I got
Yeah.
those. That might help.
Yeah.
Maybe
And now
Candy corn in the crown.
No,
and now that we're done, if you just want to rap, let me know. I'll talk with you anytime. If you just want to talk.
I'm not a good rapper. I'm a white guy.
No, not fucking. Come on. I meant rap gifts.
Oh, you mean like talk?
Oh, Ben.
okay.
Ben,
Like
you
a face-to-face conversation?
don't ever do that again, Ben. Don't ever.
He always does that. You think he's clearing his throat, but he's actually doing rhythm. It's supposed to be like a beat.
It's white rhythm. It's not the best rhythm.
Beef rhythm.
Well, maybe I'll get a gun and I can be like Ben.
Ooh,
Move
you could
to
be like a
Texas.
Texan.
Yeah,
A gun? What do you mean a gun?
yeah.
Dude,
There's no such thing as a gun.
once you get a gun, you get another gun.
It's like corals.
You buy one gun, it comes free with another gun.
We're
No.
born. We come out the womb with a gun.
But okay, so I'm at the gun show a couple of years ago, and I wanted to get a huge ammo box, just a ton of rounds. But I didn't want to carry it. It's too heavy. And so I walked the rest of the show, and they're like, "We're closing in 10 minutes." I'm like, "Oh, okay, let me go to that booth." And I go over there, and the guy's got the giant green drop cloth all over it, to protect it from theft. I was like, "Oh, I thought I could grab some ammo." And he's like, "What'd you want?" I mean, he literally doesn't care about me at all. I was like, "Well, I wanted 1,000 rounds." And he's like, "Whoa," and he's pulling back the cloth.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you need?" And he was so excited because I like to have a lot of ammo. The gun
Wow.
is useless without all the bullets.
I like just to have the bullets.
What are you going to throw them at people?
I do. I got
It
a
takes
good.
a hammer.
I got a mean pitching arm.
You might get one in their eye.
Yeah.
I
He
throw
just-
them out like marbles, like Home Alone, and the bad guys all
They,
fall
they
over.
slip, yes.
He
Yeah.
just gets a 7.62 by 39. He just stabs people with it.
I like the pointy bullets. Do you have any pointy ones?
Yeah.
God, I like that you're making bullet jargon jokes that I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's all math. It's all math.
Come on, Beefer, put it in the comments. You know what different rifles 7.62 by 39 goes to. I know
It's so
Snowman's gonna
bad.
cut a lot of this out, but I'm just saying, if I was the Flash, the last thing I would do is rape old people.
I think that's the name of the episode.
Yeah,
No, it's got to be Graham Cracker.
Graham cracker.
The last thing I would do is rape old people.
The Snowman doesn't have the cojones.
Hey, Ben,
Hey,
Oh.
Richard,
what are you doing? You're being born? What are you doing?
this is my thing.
Are you button it up all the way?
I live to serve you.
I know. So shut up and do it.
Don't give me no flack.
Get it done.
My neck is too huge. I can't even. There we go.
That's good.
Hey, Richard. We give Snowman too much content.
Oh.
Are they making out?
Is it this way or this way?
Does it like, does it matter? Can you do this? Can you do this sideways?
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Satan.
This is family programming. Hail Satan. Snowman, that's going to be cut onto the floor. Snowman's going to say, we can't hail Satan. You cannot hail Satan.
You can totally hail Satan. Everyone can hail Satan.
It's not hard to do.
the reefing gods. Everyone has their own personal reefing god. You can't pray to my reefing god. My reefing god says, fuck you, Jobu, I do it myself. I wonder what Marc Levenson's reefing god has said to him. It's pissed off right now. His god is getting grumpy with him. His god says this. Yeah, that I don't think that was as powerful as he thought it was going to be. No, not at all. All right, is there anything? Is there? Can we be done? We're finished. Okay. Probably in more ways than one. Okay, Ben. Have a good week. Richard, I love you. I love you too. Thank you, Beefers. All right, Beefers. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Bye, Beefers. Hail Satan.
And then he wanted a picture of us for the